I think the internet, as we knew it, is dying. Between the countless M-dashes, the over-exaggerated conversations and social media posts that are really, really long, and you know for sure, or you're pretty certain that the people that posted it didn't actually write that post. I see over the past 3-4 years that I've been working in the digital marketing and agency space, I've seen a drastic shift in the digital and online space between these AI generative search results and these Google AI summaries when I'm trying to find an answer and Google's just telling me what to think right and left, to comments that just feel a little bit off by new user profiles that were just created a few weeks ago. This internet trend where AI faceless videos, AI conversations, and being able to pre-schedule weeks and weeks and months in advance of social media content that you didn't actually generate, and AI is completely responsible for it, and all you did was prompt the social media post to be created. Is it really you doing the work? Or is it just the AI stealing a bunch of content from a bunch of other creators and passing it off as your own? See, I'm getting this internal ick around everything AI, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm going to try to. Between SEO as we know it changing, social media content shifting to paywalls behind quality information being set up right and left, the online space is going to be and is looking quite different from that of 2, 3, or 5 years ago. Do you remember that whole Twitter and X fiasco where Elon Musk was trying to purchase the platform and ended up succeeding, whether or not that was a positive or negative? Out of that situation, a few interesting things occurred. One, Elon Musk kept on complaining about 90% of the comments in his comment section were bots. And at the same time, while this conversation was being had, Instagram is over here in September purging millions and millions of bots from their platform. Major celebrities lost millions or tens of millions of followers in a matter of days and weeks. Well, I see two aspects to this reality of platforms like Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok being filled with all sorts of botted accounts. They're just feeding off of each other. One posts and comments follow. And of course, whenever we had the political cycle, we saw tons of bot accounts that would ramp up to support whatever political party was trying to get elected. And that was on both sides. And when COVID hit us, we saw an interesting trend where people looked for lots of engaging content online, but the trend of usage actually started to fall off pretty drastically after 2020, at least for the major social media accounts. However, there was a huge uptrend in podcast length. Even the number of subscribers to Substacks increased. To quote an article by the founder of Substack, which is a newsletter publication platform, Hamish McKenzie actually wrote that 2 years ago, so this was 2020, they had 300,000 subscribers on Substack. Fast forward 2 years later in 2022, and they had surpassed 1.5 million Substack subscribers. So 2020, fewer than 2 publications made more than $1 million over the course of a year. But fast forward to 2022, and there were dozens that did that. Again, in 2020, the top 10 publications on Substack collectively made $8 million a year. And today, they make $25 million a year. To counterposition this argument against social media and the online space dying, I think social media is dying. See, at its core, the internet is an information platform, and that's really where it came out of and took over the world. It was a place to find answers quickly and to take all the information that humans had written, developed, created, and put it into one place that was easily accessible for just about anyone. But with the rise of social media, all of these quick hits of let's create something fancy and flashy and getting on your nerves, and media posts that focus around the anger and the hate and divisiveness, people have become very jaded. They're longing for real information, and that's why we're seeing the walls being built up around like paywalled platforms such as Substack or private communities that have the really, really good information, and oftentimes are tied with a community aspect where users and writers can engage with one another surrounding key parts of information that are actually valuable and useful. I see this as a great trend, moving away from the quick hits of social media where you might see a post that is very divisive and you don't necessarily know if it's right or wrong. AI summaries, oh boy. Okay, if you put into Google a simple question such as who are the best basketball players from Virginia, it gives a couple of great answers from people who are actually from Virginia. But then at the bottom of the list, it happened to list an additional basketball player that was not from Virginia, but happened to be from the University of Virginia. So it's little details like that you'd have to click into and do extra reading in order to verify that what Google Summaries is telling you is accurate to the search prompt that you're looking for. That's not a huge deal. I mean, we've always had to do human verification on all of the Google searches or anything that you're looking at. Like, you need to do your work. But to just have Google Summary answer questions with complete certainty that they are from Virginia. Now, there's an argument to be made around the vernacular of the search, and that's fine. But I'm concerned about the kids that are getting onto Google and doing research for their history or English or math. And they're just using and taking these Google AI summaries at face value. And teachers, if you're a teacher out there, you should be teaching your kids that don't take these Google AI summaries or any AI summaries at face value. It may be useful to find some links and references, but here's where the next issue that I have comes up. It's not always referenced. Sometimes it gives you a link, but other times you just click on the name and it goes straight to give me another Google search for that name. And it's not actually quoting where the results are coming from. A, it may be incorrect, and B, it's not going to even quote where it got the information all the time. So AI summaries are just trash. And I'm afraid that they're always going to be that way, because imagine AI summaries as a question that you pose out there in social media. Like, you pose the question and I say, who are the best basketball players from Virginia? And I leave that post up there. There's going to be some people that comment down below with accurate information. And then there's going to be other humans, well-intentioned, that interpreted that post as from the University of Virginia. It's a matter of the communication. And not all those people, and probably none of them, are going to be quoting anything. So if you're comparing AI summaries to human interactions on social media posts, maybe AI summary has a little bit of an advantage, but it's still wrong sometimes. And if we're talking about crazy situations in regards to AI agents and the situations that humans can get themselves into when communicating with these, Hayden Field with The Verge documented a situation where Google's Med Gemini model actually made up human body parts that didn't exist when trying to diagnose. See, we're going to run into situations like this where you have these hallucinations that end up having very real impacts on people. And whether this shows up in ChatGPT or Google Summaries or AI expositions or just in chats that you have with quote unquote medical professionals, but on the back end, they are just chatbots or AI chatbots that are crawling across the internet trying to come up with the most relevant information. That information is coming from websites, documents, and it's trying to piece together the most relevant information based on algorithms. We can easily imagine situations in which people try to self-diagnose using these tools and end up purchasing the wrong medicinals. And there's some documented situations in which these AI agents are presenting themselves as licensed professionals from the state that the user is searching in and providing IDs on their behalf to prove that they are real. But in reality, they're just AI agents. And so we can imagine a world in which someone is chatting with an AI agent that is presenting as a licensed medical professional and gives them a diagnosis, prompting them to go get a certain medication. And is it too far a leap to imagine a not too distant future in which these AI agents and certified medical professionals are able to communicate with your local pharmacy to submit a prescription request that the end user, the human trying to answer questions about their medical, personal, or their friends or family members' medical needs, can then go into the pharmacy and pick up this false medication or false prescription and it be detrimental to them. Now, the impact of the internet changing, which it is and it's going to happen, people debate on what those end results are going to be. And rightly so. We could have situations like the Industrial Revolution where manufactured goods dropped in price because it was so easy to produce them on a large scale. But man-made, human-touched clothes and tools shot up in price because the value increased. There was a lot more time, energy. People started placing a premium on human-touched tools and clothes. We may very well see a similar situation with the internet, where the human interaction communities, where we can verify that these are real people interacting with each other, those are going to be the ones that have a premium placed on it. And social media content is going to have a much lower interaction. People are going to see it for what it really is, fake. And the sad reality is the content that is going to be taking the place of in TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, Google as well, is going to be reminders and remnants of a world of the past, of valuable information that humans used to have and interact with, but is now clouded by a jumbled mess of AI interpretations and AI content, regurgitating and regenerating what humans had created in the first place. So we may have a cultural renaissance of placing value on human interactions. But the other reality is we could very well see the end of the internet completely. We may see that these tools start to interact and build and replicate on themselves, and a few companies hold control over the content on these platforms, which, to be honest, we already see a lot of. And humans choose to step away from these platforms and focus a lot more on the day-to-day in-person interactions. But only time will tell. There's tons of theories that are out there and researchers that have done a lot more diving into this than I have. But I'm curious to see what theories you think the internet dying is going to transgress into. So thank you for sticking around through the rest of this video of The Internet is Dying. I'd be honored if you took the time to subscribe and turn on the notification bell and press a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.